As you can see, our jail is under construction, and it was during the pandemic that we decided to do this major restoration of the jail. Who would ever even think of a restoration project like this during the middle of the pandemic? We had already started planning, and this is one of those projects that had been on our minds for over 20 years.
You seem to be real enthusiastic about the jail. How did that happen?
Well, when I started out, my parents knew Miss Patricia, and they were like, you should go and try out the jail. And I went on my first day and I met Miss Molly, and she was a really awesome person. And she said, here, this is all you need to know. Now you can go on tours. And I was put headfirst into touring. It was still awesome because after the first day, I went home to my parents and I wasn't nervous at all. I told them I absolutely loved it. What did you like about the jail?
Oh my gosh. The age of it and how it got here and what a time they had leaving the courthouse square and getting it over here was just as heavy as that building is.
I mean, 500, 400 tons, that's a lot.
Oh, that's a lot.
I'm here with Curtis Oden and Matt Chaplin, two longtime characters, I might say, of Beaufort. They both have wonderful stories and history about the jail here on the site. Matt, what is your connection? You have a specific historical connection to the jail.
My great-granddaddy, Matt, was a blind jailer. Now, he had some sight because he went to the school for the blind in North Carolina, but he was legally blind.
1875, a man named Lawyer Bryant. He, in Onslow County, was convicted of murder. Apparently he shot a man in the back. And normally hangings in those days would have been out in the public square off the oak trees. Mm-hmm. But somehow he got the court to allow him to be hanged in the jail.
It was passed down through family that my great-grandmother Elizabeth, she made the hood for the last person hanged in there.
Look over here to the right, you'll see a drawing of a man on the wall. You see how the feet are dangling? There was only one man ever hanged inside this jail. His name was Lawyer Bryan. He was hanged for murder. And you got to remember that you had to have 12 feet at least to hang a man properly.
Curtis, tell me about your connection with the jail, your memories of it. What comes to mind when you think of that old jail?
Grandparents, they lived on Craven Street that blocked down the 400 block. It was a big deal when they started to try to move the jail. They got it moved and then they had to stop.
I might add on that, it's 500, it's a million pounds of brick they had to move. And when I first learned that, I was surprised they didn't take it apart. I guess it would have been impossible to take it apart to move it. So they literally jacked that up to move it here. It got stuck along the way when they were bringing it down the street.
It did.
How long was it on the street in the middle of the road?
It was a period of time because I think the contractor ran into financial difficulty.
Ran out of money?
And it ran out of money and filed bankruptcy. And I think another firm had to come in
and pick it up
and continue.
I saw the pictures in the old newspaper, 1977 approximately, of that move, and it was in that project, the idea of moving 1 million pounds 3 blocks away.
That was a feat. That was something.
It was that.
My father and his family owned Josiah Bell House. My brother and I used to come up and spend time with my grandfather. My grandfather liked to walk all over town, including to the old 1829 jail on the courthouse square. We would go up there and Granddaddy would visit with people on both sides of the bar. My impression as a child, when I would walk with him, and my brother also, was how massive the jail was. The walls were just, as a child, to me, they seemed so thick and impressive. The jail really stood out on the courthouse square because it was quite a fortress. My father eventually became sheriff in 1966. He and Catherine Cloud were very instrumental in moving the old jail in 1977 to the historic grounds. My brother also became sheriff after my father. They are part of a group of 14 family members who served Carteret County as sheriffs dating back to the late 1600s.
I was already an artist as far as sketching anyway, and that's what fascinated me, and I stuck with it. And I've seen art history, and there wasn't a lot of, to me, very well-known people that could do it as well as I thought I could. So, and I had great teachers that taught me how to do it, so I just stuck with it because I wanted to preserve our history. And that's really what fascinated me about most of it. And it's a lot of fun. And my father was real adamant about knowing history and knowing your country and your descendants and this and that. And I thought, we're the youngest country out here. I said, look at Europe, thousands of years old, and they keep it up. They're going to much older than ours. And I thought, we're so quick to tear down so many old structures from here to Asheville. I've been around everywhere in different states. And instead of preserving them and saving that history, they tear it down and throw up some sheetrock somewhere. So they take away the piece of history. And once it's gone, it's gone. You don't get it back. So it's been my fascination with it. So if I can do my part to help preserve it, that's what I'm all about.
I would say I've actually been more interested in history after learning about the jail, and I think it's really important to document what's going on. And I think this is really good right now because we're documenting for future times that we are doing renovations for the jail. And this is already history, so that's the coolest thing.